Hey guys, episode 2 of the Jaded Audiophile. Tonight's topic is vinyl versus digital. It's as old as digital is young, I guess you could say. Um, I was a vinyl guy. Okay, you know, I had a dual CS 515 turntable. I ran it for 23 years until it died in my hands. It's a long story. But it had to do with trying to rewire the tone arm wiring, and one thing led to another. But anyways, that turntable saw many cartridges, all budget stuff, go through it. The best cartridge I ever had on it, though, was the last one. And you guys will get a kick out of this story. So I kept my vinyl collection when we moved from Canada down here to Scottsdale and now Phoenix. And the intention was, even though my turntable had died at my hands back in 2007, it was? No, 2008. I transcribed all my vinyl to 9624 WAVs. I used Nero software to kind of clean things up a little bit, get rid of some of that crappy surface noise that I hate. For a phono preamp for years, I used the built-in preamp in my Denon receiver, and it worked fine. I used a Sound Blaster Audigy 2 Platinum, whatever it was. It was the one with the front panel and the RCA's and all that stuff. So, and I ripped my vinyl to that stuff for years. Some spots in the vinyl, especially in the fade outs, it's a little on the squishy side, kind of like what you used to get with the old DBX tapes and LPs, for that matter, where lots of dynamics, very quiet, but then if you've applied too much, then you'd get that little squishiness, and if you'd applied too little, then you'd still have the hiss and the surface noise. Anyways, went off on a tangent again. So Grado Red cartridge was my favorite. I had the Audiophile OM10, which it's a muddy piece of shit to my ears, and I'm saying that when it was hooked up to my Adcom 345 preamp, when it was hooked up to my Pioneer 3700 receiver. Which is another clusterfuck. Why are these old fucking piece of shit receivers that belong to our uncles and, dads or friends of our dads, now they're going up in value? You look under the hoods of these things and it's a shitstorm and a half, right? Yet people are taking pride in these old Marantz and fucking Pioneer. I had a fucking Pioneer 3700 receiver. It had the digital and analog dials for the FM tuner, right? That thing was a piece of shit, but I loved it all through high school and college, right? And then I woke up and I got a Adcom preamp and a GF 545 Series 2 amplifier. And I'm going to be putting little vignettes and pictures and stuff as I'm doing this, my meanderings and ramblings. And again, I'm going to try to keep the video short, but you guys know me. It's hard enough to do these things, talking into a camera by yourself, and then trying to keep you guys engaged. And by the way, big shout outs to every one of you guys, to Steve, to Jingle Nuts. I believe the gentleman's name is Mark, that bought the Jaded 3502P based on my experience with it, which, again, you guys probably saw it in the comments section there. I never ever on this channel expect any of you guys, and I'm almost at 500 subscribers in almost in 2 years of doing this stuff, and I'm happy as a clam. I don't need, 5,000 or 10,000. Just I'm happy with my tiny little community here. It makes replying back to you guys so much more personal and so much more easier. And again, thanks for all the well wishes, me getting back to work and things like that. So, you know, and Steve, I did mail your Kef rod and two original bolts today. I know I sent you the tracking info for that stuff, and it hopefully gets to you in one piece. Poor guy 3 weeks ago receives the rod for the Kef woofers. Didn't receive the rod, but he got the envelope the rod was in. And so, yeah, just a mess. But luckily, as I was stripping away all the parts, I had an extra 1053 rod, so that's already on his way to him. Okay, once again, went off on a tangent. My apologies. So, get back to the point, Joe. Vinyl versus digital. When I first heard Sony DSD SACDs back in 2001, 2000 time frame, it was at an audio shop in New Jersey. Can't remember the name. I think it was in Somerset or Somerville, something like that. And just blew me away. It was, I said, this is it. You don't need vinyl anymore. This has got everything. It's got the deep bass that CDs were missing. It's got the treble that doesn't make your ears bleed when you turn the volume up. It just, and that experience stayed with me to the point where I bought for $50 at Best Buy, November 2004. It was a Pioneer 578-A universal player. That thing never died on me to the day it went to the Goodwill, which was just last year, I think. It, played SACDs, played DVD audio discs. Now, understand that player, I bought it for $50 with no remote at Best Buy. Literally grabbed it off the shelf that day. And I enjoyed that thing for 13, 14 years. If you guys can believe that. The transport and those things are amazing. I wish I could have been able to break out the I2S bus from that player, which I was actually considering doing, right? And using it as my transport only. But then when I got the Sony, it would have been a moot point anyways. Although, when you play DVD audio discs on that old machine, you could see all the video and the text, whereas with this guy, it won't play the discs. Because, it won't play ripped DVD audio discs. It'll play original ones, it won't play ripped ones. That's what it is. Sorry, tangent number 4. So that experience, and then DVD audio, I brought Brain Salad Surgery when it came out in November of 2000. And I actually was listening to it on my DVD video player. So it was the compressed Dolby Digital 5.1 surround track, not the PCM. I think it's not 9624. I think it was 4824. But still, high res nonetheless. And it's not the Steve Wilson mix, right? But I enjoy it to this day. I love that ping-ponging effect of, Keith Emerson's synths going all around me, and, Greg Lake's vocals smack dab in the middle on the center channel with a little bit of bleed to the left and right. And so that was, DVD audio discs. Elton John's SACDs that Gus Guinness reissued, or did the mastering. My apologies. He mastered them back in 2003. They sound incredible, even on a cheap-ass little Pioneer player hooked up to a Denon receiver via analog cables. So, but these vinyl guys, it's like, it's not a matter of convincing them, but when they start talking digital, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it's hard for me to try to explain I2S, DSD, properly decoded DSD, the right way to do it, the wrong way to do it, what's the difference between DSD over PCM and native DSD, and Ted Smith is the guru on that stuff, so I suggest you guys YouTube him, I'll probably put a link to our Audio Video Club's Zoom thing I did with them last year, because I still reference that to this day. Anytime I'm cloudy on a few things that people ask me, and eventually I've got to get Gus's Zoom posted on the club's YouTube thing. I couldn't post it in the last almost 1 year because one of the guys in the club, and it was a mess. His phone number kept popping up, and it's not cool to publish people's phone numbers on YouTube, right? So I'm working on getting that thing fixed. And now getting back to the vinyl thing. So the sound of vinyl is amazing. I've always hated intergroove distortion, and I'm very sensitive to it. And if you don't want intergroove distortion, then get ready to pay the hefty price for Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs 200 gram pressings. 180 gram pressings, I don't see what the big deal is, because QX or QX pressings that I had of Selling England by the Pound I bought in 2003, which was my last hurrah with vinyl. I got the 30th anniversary Dark Side of the Moon, Selling England by the Pound, Foxtrot, Nursery Crime, got all that stuff. I had Pink Floyd's Pulse, which I bought in 1995. Also all three Beatles anthologies. I had all that stuff on vinyl. I had the Who's Next, which was they call it a shitty Canadian master sound pressing, or master disc pressing, whatever it was. But I actually prefer the sound of it over all the different reissues that have come out over the years. So that's it in a nutshell. I have a big appreciation for the folks that are still into vinyl. They've got huge collections, and rightfully so. They've collected them for over 50 years, so why shouldn't they enjoy it? But myself, I never had a huge vinyl collection, and a lot of my vinyl collection were shitty Canadian pressings, right? Which I wound up getting rid of, many years ago, and I only kept the good stuff. The good stuff, finally, I got rid of it about 5 years ago. And that's what I forgot. The Grado Red cartridge never made it down here. I had hidden it at the garage in our old house in Canada in a tackle box had all bolts and stuff like this. And my wife decided to throw out the tackle box because she's like, he's never going to use all these bolts. We're moving to an apartment, I gave away most of my tools, woodworking stuff anyways. When we were unpacking everything, I said to my wife, well, where is that fishing tackle box? With the slide out drawers and all that, right? I threw it out. Oh, shit. My $120 Grado Red was in there, and the stylus was in mint condition. Because my intention was to pick up a turntable down here and just for fun have it set up, just to, relive some hissy, scratchy memories, right? Didn't happen. And I didn't get upset with my wife. I just said, you know what? It's a sign. Get rid of your vinyl. Take that money, build a music server, which is what I did. And that's it. Guys, I know this was another long one. Went longer than it should, but again, a big shout out to all you folks that were, giving me lots of support in the comments section last week. And, all the best. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.